Someone's asking me right now how many ears do I have. I'm sure you guys are probably starting to think that, like, dang girl, I have a lot. I also make ears too, so I have a lot of ears. Hey explorers, it's Ashley, and today's adventure is going to be another DCP in-depth video. And today's is going to be all about the DCP housing in Orlando. And I'm super excited to tell you guys all the information you need to know because I know there's a lot of questions going around right now. So here we go. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about some of the rules and that kind of thing as far as like when it comes to linking up with roommates and all of that, and then I will get to the different complexes and the pros and cons and that kind of thing. So first things first, this question is asked all the time. Yes, you have to have the same arrival date and departure date as all of your roommates in order to link up with them. The second big thing is wellness versus non-wellness. And basically what those are is you have to be at least 21 or older to be in non-wellness. If you are under 21, you will automatically be put into wellness. So basically the difference between the two is alcohol. If you are in a non-wellness apartment, you are allowed to have alcohol in your apartment. But if you're in wellness, it is prohibited. Now, if you are over the age of 21, you can choose to room with wellness roommates. You can choose to be in a wellness apartment. You will have to sign a contract agreeing to the terms of a wellness apartment, and you cannot have any alcohol in your apartment at any time. You will get terminated. Possibly your entire apartment could get terminated for it. So do not do it. Also, one more thing, for those of you wondering, when do you apply for housing registration? Housing registration will come out about 3 weeks before your arrival date. So now I'm going to get into each of the 4 complexes for the Orlando program. So the 4 complexes are Vista Way, the Commons, Chatham Square, and Patterson Court. I personally have lived in both Vista Way and Chatham Square during my first program, so I do know a little bit about both of those, well, a lot about the 2 of those as far as what it's like living in both of those complexes, but I do know a little bit about the Commons and Patterson as well. Prices have not been released yet. They change every season. They usually go up every season, and so I don't know what the prices are going to be, but I will tell you, the more roommates you have, the less expensive. The less roommates you have, the more expensive it is. If you're willing to live 3 people to a room, it will also be cheaper. I think I'm going to talk about Vista Way first. Vista Way gets a lot of hate, and like I said, I lived in Vista Way, and it's really not that bad. It's really more rumors than anything else. So Vista Way is the oldest complex out of the 4, but is a little bit run down. They are in the process of renovating the apartments, and so I was lucky enough to have a renovated apartment during my first program while I lived in Vista. It really wasn't that bad. If you don't have a car, Vista is really nice because it is the main bus hub. If you don't have a car and you know you will be relying on the bus system, Vista Way is a really good option for you. Also, a nice thing about Vista Way is it is the only complex where there are absolutely 0 bunk beds. You have no chance of getting bunk beds if you are in Vista Way, because Vista Way only has 2 configurations in the entire complex, and that is a 2-bedroom, 4-person apartment, which is what I lived in, and a 3-bedroom, 6-person apartment, which is the most common configuration. All 4 complexes have that configuration. I have seen a non-renovated apartment, and it is a little bit run down, I'm not gonna lie to you. Vista Way is the cheapest complex to live in, and if you really are taking advantage of your program and all of that, you're really not going to be home very much, and you might have other friends in other complexes that you're going to be spending time with, so really you may not even spend that much time in your apartment anyway. Another thing that I want to put to rest about Vista Way is it's considered the party complex. I think that's really just kind of a rumor at this point. I don't know. I mean, there's parties everywhere. There's parties in Vista, there's parties in Commons, there's parties in Chatham, there's probably parties in Patterson. they're everywhere. But no, you don't hear like these raging parties every single night in Vista Way. That's not a thing. So I'm just gonna lay that out there right now. That's why you don't want Vista. Maybe consider it, because that's not a thing, guys. It's just not. So. Oh, another nice thing about Vista is there is a Chick-fil-A, a Wendy's, and a Walgreens, all within walking distance. Something I didn't say about Vista, every single building, apartment building, has washers and dryers on the bottom floor. Now, a big con for me about Vista Way while I lived there is it's really, really far from all of the other complexes. The other 3 complexes are in walking distance of each other. Vista is about a 10 to 15 minute drive from the other 3 complexes. So that was probably the biggest con about living in Vista, was being so far away from everybody else. Like, I didn't have any friends in Vista. They all lived in the other 3 complexes. That kind of sucked. And I didn't have a car, so like if you have a car and you live in Vista, it's not that big of a deal, but I didn't have a car. And so I would have to take the bus from Vista, figure out what bus I could take that would get me to the complex I wanted to get to. That's about it for Vista Way. It's not as bad as people want to make it seem. It's really not, I promise. Alright, now I'm going to talk about the Commons. And the Commons is the most expensive complex to live in. So I went from cheapest to most expensive. Commons is the most expensive, and I'm sure most of you know why. And if you don't, it's because of laundry. The Commons is the only complex that has a washer and dryer in every single apartment, which may sound wonderful, but it's really expensive, guys. I'll just use an example. So I think these are fall 2018 prices that I'm looking at right now. So for a Vista Way 3-bedroom, 6-person apartment is $108 a week. For a Commons 3-bedroom, 6-person apartment is $120 a week. So that's a $12 difference a week. A week, guys. That's almost $50 a month. You're not gonna spend $50 on laundry a month. You might spend $10 a month on laundry. So for me personally, living in the Commons is not worth it. Don't at me. But I'm going to tell you guys the configurations that the Commons has. And they have quite a few. They have 1-bedroom, 2-person apartment, which is the most expensive configuration, obviously, that you can live in. 1-bedroom, 2-person apartment. A 1-bedroom, 3-person apartment. A 2-bedroom, 4-person apartment. A 2-bedroom, 5-person apartment, which is bunk beds. 1 room would have bunk beds, 1 room would not. 3-bedroom, 6-person apartment, and a 4-bedroom, 8-person apartment. Another con, not all of the buses stop there, so if you don't have a car, it might be a little difficult depending on where you're working. Another pro for the Commons is they actually have the largest clubhouse. So they have all of like the movie night housing events is actually held at the Commons. That is also where your housing meeting will be. So you'll all will get to see what the Commons clubhouse looks like, because you will have to go during your first week. And if you want to know more about that, click here and watch that video about your first week. The Commons has this little convenience store next to their clubhouse, kind of like 7-Eleven type store. It's a little overpriced, but it's nice if you just need something quick. Another pro about the Commons is they are right across the street from the outlet malls. Tons of things there, food, all of that right there. Super easy, super convenient. All right, I think I covered the Commons. All right, so now I'm gonna move on. Patterson is the newest complex. They have the nicest pool, and they have the nicest gym. They only have 4 configurations in Patterson: a 1-bedroom, 2-person apartment, a 1-bedroom, 3-person apartment, a 2-bedroom, 5-person apartment. So that is, again, 1 room would have bunk beds, 1 room would not, and the obvious 3-bedroom, 6-person apartment. Patterson's really nice. Big con for Patterson, however, though, is if you do not have a car, there's no bus that stops there except for the Walmart Publix bus. So you would have to walk from Patterson to Chatham. Now it's like a 5-minute walk. It's not that bad, but you also have to take into consideration Florida storms and that kind of thing, it might make it a little difficult for you, but it's not the end of the world. Patterson is also known as the quiet complex. There's not really anything that goes on in Patterson. Every once in a while, housing will throw a pool party in Patterson because, like I said, they have the largest and nicest pool. I like Patterson. Like I said, the biggest and really only con about Patterson is there's no buses, and it is kind of quiet. It's not the most social complex because most people who live in Patterson have cars, and so they just kind of go out and do their thing. But other than that, like, Patterson's really nice. The apartments are really nice. The amenities are really nice. It's really nice. So something to think about. Now I'm going to talk about Chatham Square. So I lived in Chatham during my extension of my first program. Chatham has a couple different configurations as well. Chatham has a 1-bedroom, 2-person apartment, a 1-bedroom, 3-person apartment, a 2-bedroom, 6-person apartment, which means there's bunk beds in both rooms. Chatham also has the 3-bedroom, 6-person apartment and the 4-bedroom, 8-person apartment. All of the buses do stop at Chatham as well. Another good option for you if you do not have a car, the buses are right outside. All of the welcome events are at Chatham, and all of the graduations are at Chatham. Also, most of your classes, there's classrooms in Chatham. They're either going to be in Chatham or Vista. If you are taking a Disney class, it'll be right there in your complex and you won't have to worry about driving or taking a bus to another complex. Chatham is very, very social. I thought it was kind of the party complex during my first program, but not really in a bad way. You could knock on your neighbor's door and more than likely they would answer and like talk to you and hang out. The security guards are really nice at Chatham. They weren't very nice at Vista when I lived there. A con of Chatham would be, I guess, the laundry is you might have to walk a little bit. I would recommend getting a laundry basket maybe that has wheels on it, just in case you end up having to walk a little bit to laundry. It's not as nice as like Patterson, but it's really kind of got a little bit of everything. Like, it's kind of in the middle, I would think. I don't know. I like it. Sorry if I'm being a little biased in this video, but Chatham's just Chatham. Something about Vista Way that I did not talk about is the Learning Center. The Learning Center is basically where you go if you need any kind of assistance with schoolwork. Some people take online classes through their schools and they need proctored exams. You would go to Vista Way Learning Center for that. They have computers, although all the complexes have computer labs, but Vista's is the largest. That's also where you can rent movies and books and board games and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. You cannot do that at any of the other complexes. Now you can live in another complex, go to the Learning Center, rent something, and bring it back. That's totally fine, but it's nice if you live in Vista, it's right there. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about the things that kind of all the complexes have. So all the complexes have a clubhouse. Think of the clubhouse as kind of like a front desk. So it basically, that's where you'll go if you get any packages, like Amazon packages, UPS, anything like that. It will get sent to the clubhouse and you will get an email saying you've received a package, and you will go and pick it up at your clubhouse. You do share a mailbox with all of your roommates, so there's only one mailbox key, so you will have to keep that in a kind of known place. Disney Housing does provide cleaning supplies like vacuums and that kind of thing, which become really important when you get close to inspections. And I'll talk about inspections in another video. It is free. I guess I shouldn't say rent. I guess check out. You can check out cleaning supplies. Stuff like vacuums and mops and brooms and just cleaning supplies that they have. You can do that at any of the clubhouses. The clubhouses are also kind of a resource. If you have any questions at all about the program or anything going on, you would go to start at your clubhouse, unless it's something involving like work and stuff, then maybe go to your leaders. But anything outside of that that you just aren't sure about, you have questions about, go to the clubhouse and they will have the answer for you, and if they don't, they will direct you to someone who does. All the complexes have a pool, all of them have a gym, kind of think like hotel gym. It's not like this super nice thing. Vista has basketball courts, and I believe volleyball courts. I'm going to talk about security. So all 4 complexes are secured. You have security in front of all 4 complexes, and in order to get in, you have to show your housing ID. Security can look you up if for whatever reason you do not have your housing ID with you. They can look you up based off of your PERNER number, because your PERNER number is also on your housing ID. With your housing ID, you do have access to all 4 complexes. You don't have to just live in that complex to get into it. However, there are curfews. And basically what that is you can technically be in any other complex until 2 a.m. And then from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. is technically quiet hours, and so that's when noise complaints can be put into motion and that kind of thing. And technically you are not supposed to be in any other complex but your own. You are not allowed to have overnight guests. As far as guests who are not in the college program, they are allowed in. You do have to sign them in. You are responsible for them. They are allowed in the complexes until 1 a.m. After 1 a.m., guests have to leave. There's no more than 16 people in an apartment at one time. Oh, something that happened during my program is the housing complexes are all smoking free. They are a smoke-free area. You cannot smoke on Disney housing property. And also, something that people are probably wondering is, well, what happens if I lock myself out? You can go to security, and security does have keys to all of the apartments, and they are able to help you and unlock your apartment for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this is helpful for all of you who are getting anxious about housing registration and that kind of thing. I hope this answers any questions. Feel free to leave any additional questions down below. I'm more than happy to answer them. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!